Oh boy, just give me a second. Lady, late. Let me check if my stuff is correct. My live streams, check out my live streams. Wait, the category shouldn't be gaming, should it? Okay, let me do some edits. Change the stream description. Stream description. There we go. Category gaming, comedy, entertainment, film and animation, how to, music. Film and animation, no. Music, no. News and politics. It's an animals. What is this? Entertainment? I guess. Let's stick with entertainment, shall we? Okay. Where else we start? Oh no. This Worldbuilding Wednesday is a never forget Wednesday. Oh dear. Okay, let me just slowly get my social links up. We're back in this let's also test the chat at the same time.
Socials.
Oh, stretch. That's probably correct. Right, and we'll also need to put the answer viewer questions live. Okay. Thanks for dropping by. Mind leaving a like? Mind leaving a like? Question mark? Liked. Subbed. Wanna know more? No. Asked. Question. Right. So there's that. I'll also pop this chat out to the side and go to the switches. If I was smarter, I should put my Worldbuilding Wednesday stream on a vertical setting so it has more viewership.
Socials.
And it's not nearly as important to be vertical, not to be horizontal. Okay. Right. There's a reading and writing category, so Let's see if that's going to give me some traction at all, or if it's going to be relevant. But things are looking okay. This Windows go to the side. Build PNG tuber is working fine. I'm gonna run my bump meter just in case somebody does something naughty. Chat needs a little bit of a bonk. Otherwise, we're just going to go straight in, shall we? Time to switch to my face cam. Say hello, folks. It's me. I'm Biggie, and I'm back. We're live. We're doing Worldbuilding Wednesday again. Seeing this didn't do very well last time, but there's a couple more people joining in on the stream on the tubes today. There's 3 viewers. Hello, viewers. We're doing just reading my little novel today. I might need to turn off the sound here. I'm not feeling super good. My stomach betrayed me yesterday as I was about to do physio. I was just not quite a stomach bug. It just had an emergency evacuation, so to speak. Oh, welcome. The never coming here for the never forget day, but hopefully. Okay. Oh, who's that? Thanks for being here there, Momi. We're doing a little bit of a novel reading today. We might have Gundam later, but today's going to be a bit of a chill day for me. I'm not sure if you're going to enjoy this kind of stuff, but feel free to say stuff, comment stuff. We're just doing a bit of light reading today, and I'm not sure if it's going to be of interest. It's still going to be a little bit more of a hey, this is part of the world building of a game that I'm working on, so feel free to have a look and stuff. Oh wait, there's a bunch of ads here. Why is the browser not okay? Well, it is fandom, so I can't expect anything other than ads on fandom. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and link to the main page of my wiki, because this is the wiki that I'll be referring to. So this is what I posted here, and feel free to jump in and have a look at the little what I've written so far here and there. But also be nice. Don't go and whatchamacallit, ruin everything. I do have some of these things saved up in a separate space, but yeah, I'll need to try to give less privileges here. But yeah, I thought about this. Okay, so Momi, if you didn't know, or if you haven't heard, my channel is originally just playing through Unlimited Saga, right? And for context, I wanted this game to be I started off by fixing. It is a rabbit hole that went down from trying to fix the magic system in Unlimited Saga, came up with my own magic system, added a little bit more flavor here and there, and then it went down a rabbit hole to the point where it became its own thing. So there's that. I'll need to do edits off. So what I'm doing here, well, first, yeah, sorry, I'm getting all ADHD up in this, but so it went down its own little rabbit hole, and it ended up being its own thing. And if I wanted to turn this into some sort of media, I started off doing a small video, which is world building using a radio advert of sorts, like newsreel. So there was that. I posted that a couple of weeks ago, and after that I started doing a bit of writing. And where I ended up now is that I finished writing the preface of what's going to be called the Memoirs of Jacob. Memos of Jakob is a little me trying to write in-game lore, and it became a bit of a cursed novel of sorts. It's not a cursed novel. It's a cursed text, I think. But it's going to be fun trying to read through it and see if it's any good. But that being said, I think it's gonna be time for me to start thanking my members. So we'll start with that. Let's go ahead and thank members. Let's just say thank you, Apilux, Manta, Rafael Vega Chapa, Amish Slam, and Chris Burton. You guys currently are the members on the tubes, and supporting the channel financially. And if you do so, join the membership program. You get some cool badges and emojis that you comment on YouTube. Or if you subscribe on Twitch, you also get the same benefits. Yep. So yeah, feel free to do so if you want to support my channel monetarily. Otherwise, it's just as simple: liking the video if you enjoyed, subscribing if you want to see more, clicking on the bell to get notified for when I go live, etc. Yeah. With that being said, let me just switch to my game dev screen, see if that still works. Yeah, okay, so there's the stuff. By the way, this is all just old format that I used for my Romance of the Three Kingdoms game dev stuff. So that's what it is right now. Okay, so before I begin, if there's anybody having any questions, feel free to ask. Feel free to jump in and say hi. There's only just a few pages here. But yeah, this is Seventh Realm. This is just a working title. There's concepts and overviews and game mechanics and elemental classes and races and story and quests. This is all just kind of placeholders. Yeah. The elemental weaknesses, a main character, first episode, important locations, key events, crucial item. Yeah, this is all just templates. So not a lot has gone into this at all. Right? But yeah, there's characters and worlds, certain PCs and stuff, combats and exploration. Yeah, this is just a hub of sorts. But we're gonna go explore all pages and then just jump to the memoirs. I might need to do a little bit of rewriting for the memoirs. I think this one is probably the most whatchamacallit, up-to-date version of the story. But I have another Google Docs that has that. Where are we? Yeah, I might wait a little bit until Manta shows up before I start reading this stuff, but oh, the other thing I could show you are a couple of the other pages. Like for example, we have the Albakir page. Yeah, if anybody's still here, feel free to just jump in, ask questions and stuff before we start reading the novel. But I want to have more people jumping in more than anything. But there's a couple of recent pages and images that we could talk about. So let's go ahead. One of the more recent pages is that I asked a bunch of our viewers, what's your take? Or like, which one do you want to hear about the most? Amongst of all the gods that I created. And I got the little tortoise as the most requested dude here. Come on, Albuquerque. There you are. And that's kind of cool. I love the turtle with lots of little geometric designs here. But that thing on his forehead is not quite this is going to be really, really bad. It's going to be kind of like not quite Arabic. But yeah, let me just read through about how I came. with this god. But let's actually just talk about how I come up with gods, or how I come up with concepts for gods. I probably want to write this as a more thorough way of going about at this, but I probably want to just go ahead and actually open another page here.
Howdy, howdy.
Howdy, howdy, man. You're on YouTube, so I'm assuming that you're not in the best whatchamacallit locations today to hear all this stuff. But I'm just going to just talk a little bit about the gods before returning to read the various saints, because this is a requested god, the most requested god here. So feel free to just ask questions and interrupt at any time, even when I'm reading. Right? I mean, should be kind of a little bit interactive, anyways. I'm gonna go through all pages, and let's go ahead and go to the elemental weaknesses thing again.
Restart router.
I see. Right. So, okay. So, if you know anything about the project, this is the thing that we based our entire series on, or entire lore on, which is the elemental weaknesses chart. So what is it that we are doing? We're doing we do this come on, Biggie, think. But yeah, so knowing that there are 7 elements in the game, what is going to be important is defining what characteristic each element will have that is unique compared to the other. Basically, we're trying to define flavor of all the other various other elements. And the best way for defining flavor, in my opinion, who did it best, was Magic the Gathering and the Color Pie. If you're any familiar with Magic the Gathering and their Color Pie, how they did it is that, wait a minute, let me just see if I could actually look up MTG Color Pie here, that I could like that. Where's the image? Color Pie. This is a fandom page. Here's another color wheel. Yep. See full size image here. I'm not sure if this is going to be easy to show in Brave. Let's go ahead and pop new page. There we are. So this is the good old color wheel. Can I zoom in? Okay, never mind. Right, so color wheel. How Magic does its flavor is what they do is they look at opposites, right? So if you draw a line here, as you can see, between white and red, you see that there's white has order in opposition to chaos. Over here is morality in difference to amorality. And we're seeing things like instinct versus technology, interdependence versus parasitism for green. We got impulse versus logic for blue versus red. And we have things like all of these various different things in opposition. And once you put things in opposition like this, it becomes easy to determine the flavor of each color. Or more importantly, that's how they defined things like how to define things like uh and there's things like the dual cards as well, if you know, like fire and ice, uh, uh war and peace. And there's the swords like the swords of yeah, there's just so many flavors of different types of swords. Sword of fire and ice, sword of war and peace, sort of, all those good things in Magic the Gathering. So we're using Magic the Gathering as the basis here of determining flavor of each color. As you can see here, because this is order, this is chaos, you could see peace, a law, and the fact that they're uncreative in each of the flavors. So I did the same thing with my elemental wheel. So I said, since there are 7 elements, what are the oppositions? The most, and we have to try to make oppositions kind of work in a way that, okay, give me a second. My, why is this not showing what I want to show? Give me a second. Are people still here? Are you still here, Mana? Ah, there we go. Much better.
Still here.
Yep. Let's put on this Twitch window here. Okay, so we're back on this wheel. You can see that if we're basing things on this little wheel here, what we do is, okay, so fire versus earth, fire versus metal, fire versus wood, fire versus earth, fire versus thunder, fire versus water. Let's think of concepts that are opposing between each of these elements. So that's how I went about to figure the color identity or the elemental identity of each, right? So what is with that in mind and the weaknesses in mind, I decided to go and look at domains and oppositions, right? So our good old turtley boy, as you can see here, where is he? This is the one that won the popularity poll that I wanted to cover out first. So here he is in all his glory. He used to be called Tutamir back in the earlier drafts. As you can see, really cool geometric patterns. But we've called him Al-Bakir right now, but his name is still TBD'd. I'm not sure if Tutamir works a little bit better, but he's a little bit too close to Muhamir. So, yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure what Al-Bakir means. I think it's like the shelled one or the something like that. But let's read his entry. Al-Bakir is revered as the golden tortoise, as the Muhamir god of metal. He is the embodiment of endurance, clarity, preservation, and regarded as the eternal judge who measures civilizations by what they create and preserve. So unlike other deities who speak or act with force, Al-Bakir is known for his silence, communicating only through resonant gong-like sounds, like when a shell is struck. So, how I came up with this, of course, is just looking at his element in comparison to others. So, looking at metal, so if you put fire and metal, what is the difference? And I went with fire destroys, metal creates. So the thing about metal is it's used a lot in creating things, or metal in and of itself needs to be refined and turned into things that is used for creating things. You think about tools, you think about all the various little items that metal is good for, and usually it is all tools to shape the world or make the world yours. So it is very much a creative element, as opposed to fire, which is a very natural destructive element. So fire itself will destroy most of the things that you create. So I think that's the creation versus destruction dichotomy, or the opposition. So with wood, metal is artificial, wood is
Fire
natural.
tears down, metal endures.
Yes, fire destroys, metal creates. Over here, wood is natural, right? Versus wood, it is a very artificial item, so it needs to be created. Needs to be synthetic, and needs to be worked to be able to exist in and of itself. Metals is very much a it's an interesting thing, because for metal to distinguish itself from earth, it needs to be worked. So it needs to be created. So that's an important distinction. So with that, thunder is relatively hard to come up with, because thunder and metal are basically uh, in direct opposites in our little wheel. So you could see it's so the most primal or most basic scientific thing, since they're also tech related, is matter and energy. That's the only thing that I could come up with as thunder being kinetic, and metal being stable, earth-like, not earth-like, but metal being, it's just matter and energy. It is the states most and if you are like oh, science, the matter, energy, everything same thing, like particles and waves, like pretty much the same thing depending on the amount of energy. I know, silly science and quantum stuff, and we'll uh not go into that things that deep. um Next are some of the harder ones I could come up with. Earth is one I uh see that it is that metal reflects and earth
Lightning is
doesn't.
also often a symbol of divinity, while machines are often a symbol of humanity.
That is very true. But in our world, lightning and metal are tech elements. So with that being said, the tech elements is very, very much in opposition, right? So there's that. Where was the okay? Let me just go. No, that's backwards. That's the memoirs. Let's not spoil that yet. They're like they're tech stuff, and they're in direct opposition. So yeah, there's that. And this is I'm gonna make a change. The metal is going to be the defensive element, whereas thunder is going to be the offensive element, and it's because in the because it makes sense for one thing. For And I also made several changes to the characters and lore and things. And once the more I world build, the more it makes sense. Okay, this is my ChatGPT. Now that's
In that
a little bit
case,
spoilery. Yep.
lightning could be used as a symbol of innovation and brilliance, while metal can be used as a symbol of stubbornness, unfeeling, unmoving.
Yes, very much so. Because and ironically, that what that means is that the some of the thievery skills are going to be here in Thunder, because they need to be quick. They need to be. Uh, I think we'll need to we'll see if we could shuffle different skill sets onto here. Pickpocketing will be a Thunder, like pickpocketing and stealing will be a Thunder element stuff. Definitely. But some of the thievery skill, like I'm either going to split the thievery skills between these two, or I'm going to put mainly on thunder, right? Where was I? Yeah. Okay, but back here, you can see here that for Earth, I thought the most basic thing is that Earth is very muddy, uh, whereas metal is very shiny. So I thought the most it is in Abakir is tends to be very um, all about things being clear, not obscured, being revealed, right? And for in that case, water. Uh, that's and so that's the case for against the earth, and then the last few things is water. Water is uh, always changing forms, whereas metal is trying to keep uh, in its form as much as it can. The way water exists is that it's always moving. Metal tries not to stay still and preserve things. So there's that, and skills, language is silence versus voice. So against language, this is really tough for me. I think about I think about metal. I think about ringing in the ears. I think metal will be important in silencing, keeping things quiet. Because one thing I know about silence is that it's completely unnatural. Things like complete silence and for example, a sine wave or a ring of a single simple tone is unnatural. That's why rings in metal and things, ringing in the ear, and that feeling of silence is very reminiscent of something unnatural yet, yeah, very very distinct. You could also see why gongs are very much used in battles, even in the olden days, because it's a distinct, very easy to hear that, oh, this is an unnatural sound to uh, realize that it's
I
being
can
shown.
imagine harmony vs dissonance. Imagine the sound of singing vs the sound of heavy machines.
That is also very true. But I think um, things like white noise is somewhat natural. You could hear white noise in nature. Discord is something you see here a lot in nature. If you turn on a old CRT TV with no signal, and you can see the white noise and pixels on static on the screen, that's the natural order of things. Whereas metal, it's been crafted, and you will almost never hear a sine wave in its natural form unless it's created, right? Sine waves, saw waves, really basic sounds don't occur in nature. So I imagine things like the turtle, like this is a just a bit of a headcanon or an idea, like maybe in the novel there will be a passage where the turtle starts is being spotted, and the way you spot the turtle is that there's an unnatural silence, like the wind stops, the chirping of birds stops, everything just kind of stops and it's dead silent, and you could hear faint ringings in the distance as the turtle moves and its shells drops against each other, and then you could hear the uh, small ringings of things. It could be a very very powerful moment because in the novel is so just to preface the little novel, what the novel is going to be the working title of the novel is called The Memoirs of Jacob, right? Memoir of Jacob is basically talking about a scribe who followed around Saint Zara as she goes and performs the various different miracles. And probably, and he's a scribe. He goes around and just writes everything down that he could. Right. So there's that. Um, and he just goes and records everything, and you could see it from a point of view of somebody following uh saint alike character around, capturing everything that he sees. And he could and in the current setting of this is basically if you imagine and compare it to Unlimited Saga, uh, Zaratawana is going to be a character similar to Iskandar, where he shows up on an adventure and goes around to the Seven Wonders and things like that, right? And doing things that we have no idea and we don't understand as much quite. Um, and we're just bearing witness to like history occurring, or in this case, maybe reoccurring. Uh, and this is just an outside observer uh, looking in. And what's going to be hinted at is that Zara is going to be similar to Iskandar, is that she's going to be very much on the levels of an isekai protagon. So she's just going to have a lot of prior knowledge, and she's just going to use whatever prior knowledge she has to create a infrastructure for the world that didn't happen before. So, long story short, Zara, in her presence, performed 7 miracles, and it jump-started the world from from medieval era straight through into industrial and modern era. So basically, she just goes around and culture bombs everybody, all the different races, with ideas that propelled people from just say medieval from medieval serfdoms. Imagine your country gets triggered into the Renaissance era. It goes straight from middle to Renaissance to industrial. So basically, her story is jump starting people from medieval right through the Renaissance and straight into industrial era, right? And after she dies, and after her death, the world rushes through towards a modern era that they weren't prepared for. So I did a bunch of historical research, meaning I played several hours of Civilization 6. What is my play time on Civ 6 now, by the way? Because let me just look at my game library. Oh, Against the Storm's getting a patch. Really cool. Oh, yeah, this is just, what's the play time? Oh, just 44,393 hours on Civ 6. Rookie numbers for Civ 6, I think. I'm not going to be able to play 5,000. I think that's, I've used, if I'm actually going to play to 5,000, I'll go for full Chiefs if I'm going to get to 5,000. I'm not even at that point yet. Anyways, yeah, playing too much Civ 6, getting all that.
Gotta achieve the basic playtime though, lol.
Yeah, let's just do that. Okay, so I'm going to read the preface of the Memoirs of Jacob now. So I'm just going to turn off the TTS and whatchamacallit a bit. Let me just turn off TTS. I'm just gonna mute TTS for a little. Oh no, not infinite minus. Where were you? What's your... Okay, there it is. And now I'm going to mute the TTS, and actually, where is it? Where are you? Pardon me, little manta dude. I'm gonna start recording as I read the Memoirs of Jacob. All right, so okay, so this is going to be part of the memoirs, and see how well this is going to be, and this is going to probably be part of the whatchamacallit as well, a separate video that I'm going to upload into my channel as a podcast of sorts. Anyways, We're going to begin now. Stretching a little bit. Right? Let's go. Memoirs of Jacob. The vigil is finished. 21 years since she fell, and at last the saint stands. I ought to feel joy today, a lightness in the heart, as if this marvel could close a wound that is arched. Damn it. Let's try again. I ought to feel joy today, a lightness in the heart, as if this marvel could close a wound that has ached this many decades. Damn it! Okay. Right. I'll just need to calm down a little bit. But the thing is, I'm sideways, so it might be a little bit on the hard to read side. But if you didn't know, I'm on my side because my stomach's not doing very well. I had to even cancel my physiotherapist yesterday. All right, I'll start over. Memoirs of Jacob. Memoirs of Jacob. The vigil is finished. 21 years since she fell, and at last the saint stands. I ought to feel joy today, a lightness in the heart, as if this marvel could close a wound that has ached these many decades. But joy does not come, not here, not now. What comes instead is this old weight, the memory of her voice, the way it could turn even an enemy's ear, the way it could make a cynic believe. I hear the rhythm of her songs as chisels mark her words on the plinth, her melodies whispered in the prayers of pilgrims and passers-by, even in the blasphemous expletives hollered by masons as they set the few final stones. They will call her Saint Zaratawana. They will speak of the 7 miracles as if it was fables carved fully formed from the rock, as if the road had been straight, the cost light, the blood voluntary. I have lived long enough to know better. I was there when Mau was still called a heresy. I saw the fear in the eyes of tyrants who understood what devotion could do, how faith could not have just hearts, how faith could move not just hearts, but mountains, and bore witness firsthand the length they would go to nip things in the bud. All right, okay, so that's the test read. There's this version, or I could read it in a more cancelable way, because I imagined Tanzanians as being proto-African / Brazilian stuff. So if I wrote, if I imagined the character actually reading this, he would sound like this. The vigil is finished. 21 years since she fell, and at last the saint stands. I ought to feel joy today, a lightness in the heart, as if the marvel could close a wound that has ached these many decades. But joy does not come, not here, not now. What comes instead is this old weight, the memory of her voice, the way it could turn an enemy's ear, the way it could make a cynic believe. I hear the rhythm of her songs as chisels marked her words on the plinth, her melodies whispered in the prayers of pilgrims and passers-by, even in the blasphemous expletives hollered by masons as they set the final few stones. They will call her Saint Zaratawana. They will speak of the 7 miracles as if they were fables carved fully formed from the rock, as if the road has been straight, the course light, and the blood voluntary. I have lived long enough to know better. I was there when Mau was still called a heresy. I saw the fear in the eyes of tyrants who understood what devotion could do, how faith could move not just hearts, but mountains, and bore witness firsthand the lengths they would go to just to nip things in the bud. Wow. Okay. So I'll pause there and What do you think, Mana? Which one sounds better? I love the second the way um slight twang of this just adds a lot to the character that I want. I want the character to sound like the second version, but he's actually just sound. Me reading the first version feels a lot less authentic to the character. So you know what I mean? I want the characters to sound the second way. So am I gonna get canceled by reading it in a Nigerian accent? Man, it is a dilemma. Oh, who cares? Let's just go Tony. Let's just go full Tony. Hello, folks. No, that is fine. That is fine. Um, it is a very modern phrase. Uh, I mean, yeah, it's a very modern phrase. Oh well. I'll keep that in mind. All right. Okay. Okay. Let's see. I'll keep that as in notes. Give me a second. Open a new note. Nip in the butt, because nip in I was looking for a more appropriate um uh word, or to something more uh era appropriate as well. But this is, yeah, we'll see. Okay, let's keep going. And still her words endure, carried now on the tongues of every realm. I remember copying those words in ink by my own hand until the parchment cracked beneath them. I saw my work displaced by miraculous contraptions that sped the work. Okay, this I'll need to change this because I said the work twice. Yep. Yeah. Crush it beneath their feet. I think that works. Yeah. I love reading my own novel and seeing all the little mistakes whenever I voice it out. You know what? I'm just going to turn you back on. Give me a second, Mana. Voice back on. Where's the little TTS? Where's the little PNG tuber dude? Yeah. We come back. Yeah, feel free to just interrupt. I mean, it feels more organic this way. Where am I now? Okay, let's keep going. And still her words endure, carried now on the tongues of every realm. I remember copying those words in ink by my own hand until the parchment cracked beneath them. I saw my work displaced by miraculous contraptions that sped the work 100-fold. But these pages here, these personal memoirs of my journey, were written neither to gild her memory nor to set my own in bronze. No, this is not the story of a saint. This is a story of a girl, a faith, a road paved not with miracles, but with blood, sweat, and tears. And I was there at the beginning. Sorry. I'm so sorry. I can't believe I just. Uh, I'm reading this in the Nigerian accent, and as soon as said that, it's just in the Beninging. In the Benin. Sorry.
Internally cringes LOL.
I can't. I'm sorry. It just shows up. Anyways, some nights I still sorry. Oh my goodness. Whew, breathe. Am I going to be able to read this further? Okay. Some nights I still wake up with the visceral images of crimson splattered across the floor. And to this day, I still cannot undo the scent of copper from every cup of wine I was offered since. I met her when I was 20 and she was only 14. Even then, she carried herself with the quiet certainty of someone walking a road that she'd seen before. In my youth, I was in my youth, I was more scribe than witness. I copied words without weighing their meaning, scoffed scoffed at what seemed fanciful, and dismissed the girl who would be called saint as little more than a peculiar child. My cynicism was the shield of a boy unsure of himself to admit wonder. Now, age has made me a conspirator. I have lived long enough to see her image softened, then twisted, until the Zara I knew is nearly unrecognizable. They call her a goddess of unity and purity, but they forgot her presence, her dissonance, her human strangeness. They forgot she was a child when it began, and that she spoke not with sermons, but with the riddles and fragments of verse. I do not claim to be a perfect witness. My pen strayed with impatience. My eyes were blind to what was before me. Yet, I hold this. My scribblings are closer to reality than the published fables sung today could ever be. For it was in the cracks of a journey, hidden in plain sight, the true nature of her miracles emerged. I swear upon the saint herself that I had left these memoirs as they were written, untouched. Let these pages stand, neither as scripture nor as history, but as proof. May whoever finds them after I am gone weigh them carefully. For what is remembered, however flawed, always carries more truth than what is forgotten. For even in death, my faith will start. Jacob Ben Adir, Thor Moon, 28th day, AW 1188-4. 11884. I think I need to read that properly. Okay, so that was the preface of the Memoirs of Jacob, right? So the entire premise of the thing is how everything he's written, everything he's captured, is what I'm hinted at is that this is going to be a cursed text and a basically a hidden text kind of vibe. Not the hidden text. It's got to be a banned book, pretty much. His words written here are going to be covered up. Like it might be discovered by one of the protagonists of our story as the game starts, right? And it's going to be hinting at kind of like a grander scheme of things happening over in the world, right? So, how does the preface read so far? Any comments? Let me stop the recording.
Not bad, not bad.
Yeah, it feels it like I love it so far. There's a couple. The next part is going to be the first chapter, which I said it's quote unquote finished, but I need to go. This is probably just first draft. I mean, it's going to be rewritten a little bit to because I got comments that I'm introducing too many characters and too many concepts a little bit too quickly. So I'm gonna let it rest a little, let things cook a little. Uh, Particularly, I think the I'll actually, before I do that, I'm just going to do some editing. Um, I'm gonna just do it on the not Chrome, on Opera here. So I've got a couple of windows open. I'm going to go to my workspace here. Um,
For even
Hexfang.
in death, my faith will start. If this is the metal faction, would it not be my faith will endure?
No, this is not the metal faction. Uh, these guys. This is the word action. Oh, but by the way, thanks for catching that. That this is a very very important thing. That this is basically what happened is um this right here is the preface that he wrote after he's um so this is old Jacob, right? Old Jacob is rewritten and reread the entire thing and compiled his notes from back when he was younger, right? And he's just going to say, "Hey, this is the uh, this is uh, there's stuff that I've written back in the day, and stuff that I've written back in the day. I swear this is true. I swear this is uh, as is. I did not make any changes, um, and it still and this was far more. There's so much going on with Saint Zara that you could believe, that kind of conspiracy. And I'm going to. Do I want to spoil this? Do I even want to spoil this? I mean, I don't. Okay, I'm not going to spoil it at all. I'm going to make you, um, even as a member. I think the. Uh, just give me a second. Oh, I'm copying the revised version uh, of this chapter of the part 1 chapter. So just give me a second while I do that. I'm not gonna spoil it. I think it is such a cool twist. So I'm going to keep it a secret for now. But if you're smart, if you are, I mean there is actually a reason why he said that. Very very specific line. And yeah, and I'm planning to make this little novel or this little text something that becomes like, wait a minute, I need to go reread the entire thing again. Wait, is that what, that kind of text. So I am if I'm able to achieve that with what I'm writing, it's going to
I
be
see.
chef's kiss. Yep. But if I wanted to just keep things as is, how I'm going to the way I'm going to frame it is second, wait, what? Why is that like that? Wait, where's my no, that's incorrect. See this and then go to the memoirs and then paste. Wait, why did that do that? Hmm. But yeah, it is. There's a few things. Oh, damn it. Okay, never mind. I'm going to the only significant change I made is um in this section. So hopefully that no, I made changes in more than one section. Okay, it's going to be real rough to. You know what? I'm just gonna read the original. Never mind. I think it's a little bit too rough for me to do changes right now, right here. But it's gonna be a long read, so let's see if things are gonna go okay. And as soon as we're done reading this, we're gonna move on and see if we're gonna do some Gundam afterwards, because nobody's watching this right now, which is kind of good. I don't want this to be spoiled anytime soon. And let's see. All right. So this is going to be young Jakob. This is back when he was 20. Okay. Yep. Young Jakob.
Anzania, IZ that biggie.
Ha 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 ha. You got it. Yep. Anzan the Petron. Yep. I make little references here and there that you might be able to cringe. Yep. Yep. Right. Okay. The Heart of the Nixbor. Yeah. The Heart of the Nixbor, Part 1. AW 11 AW 11 821. Fifth day of Crown Moon. Oh, I'm going to need to redo whatchamacallit. I'm going to see if I'm going to redo the calendar or stuff or regarding which moons is what. But yeah. Right. Let's go. Oh, I might need some liquids. เรียกไหมกาแฟได้ไหมเอ่ยขอปื้ดหนึ่ง I'm going to hydrate a little bit before I read this. This is about how many words is this? It's nearly 4,000 words already. So I'll finish reading this. I'll go entry by entry. Okay, let's go. Yeah. I am Jakob, son of Yamin the scribe. I was born on AW 11801 at the small port town of Marona. And up until last week, my world was ink, parchment, and the quiet scratch of the quill. My hands are more accustomed to copying the old proverbs of Mau than to holding reins. Yet here I am, chosen to accompany Lord Tawana and one of the few leaders of our young and fragile faith, on this journey to carry the word into the foreign lands. On the journey to carry the word into foreign lands. It is no small honor. It is the third day since we left Anzania, and the first I have found enough stillness to commit my thoughts to parchment. The road to the Nixbor realm winds like a great vein through the continent, pulsing with the lifeblood of caravans. Our company is Muhammad, long columns of pack beasts laden with goods, the air rich with the smell of cardamom, leather, and sweat. Unfortunate that we had to depend on shedders for travel, but their experience traveling here, their trade routes. No. Unfortunate that we had to depend on shedders for travel, but the experience traversing these trade routes outweigh any sort of protest or any human outweigh any sort of protest I or any human might have had. The caravan leader was Rimali, and while his shifting scales usually blend into the environment, they are now pitch black to absorb as much of what little warmth the sunlight could provide as possible. I, however, was clad in layers upon layers of cloth, for the sun-kissed skins of our people did not provide the same luxury. As night falls, the crew gather round the fire. To bargain, gossip, and trade vital news in a dozen tongues. Mawu is still small, more seed than tree. Its branches have yet to stretch beyond our own people, and many doubt it ever will. The other realms have no desire to see new faith take root, for the gods guard their domains fiercely, and to recognize Mawu would be to admit a new element into the weave of reality itself, upsetting balances older than history.
These are the lizard folk, right? Wouldn't it be sun-kissed scales?
The lizard folks are have sun-kissed skins, whereas our dude Jakob is human. I didn't know if that was clear enough. So Jakob was a human.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Jakob is human. Yep. And basically saying that the lizards have black scales. They've turned their scales black to absorb the sun. And even though our skin is sun-kissed, even though he's black, he can't. He doesn't have the same luxury. Doesn't have the same physiology. I mean, where was I? Okay. All right. The other realms have no desire to see a new faith take root, for the gods guard their domains fiercely, and to recognize Mawu would be to admit a new element into the weave of reality itself, upsetting balances older than history. But this is why we go to the realm of the fire god and plant these first seeds in Nixbor soil. Lord Tawana rides at the caravan's fore, steady and composed. Even during travel, his robes were in immaculate order, and his head and face so clean-shaven you couldn't spot a single hair out of place. Never have I seen him speak without weighing his words, and I suspect every silence is a deliberate choice for him. His wife, Lady Tawana, is his opposite in every manner. Her voice bold, her smile quick, her frizzled hair sprouting out of her hood, and her devotion to Mawu plain in every gesture. She speaks often to the traders, asking of their homes and families, laughing at their stories, and sneaking a swig of wine whenever she could to warm her spirits. Their daughter, Zara, rides behind them, a quiet figure in a travel cloak far too large for her. She is 14, though something in her manner makes her seem younger one moment and far older the next. She speaks little, even to her parents, and when she does, it is often in half phrases or riddles. I have heard her hum, her voice so soft that they seem meant for the stars alone. I do not know her well, and yet I find myself watching her, trying to understand the strange stillness that she carries. We travel under the guise of trade, our wagons carrying bolts of cloth, preserved fruits, and rare spices alongside the scrolls and charms of our faith. Each night I hear more of the Nixbor from traders. They say the Asaurians, the Bear Folk, hold the highest ranks, their word law in the mountains and beyond. Their councils are guarded by other races of the tundra, from Lupan warriors to Tigran generals, Glacian tacticians, and Snowarian scouts. The Nixbor smile seldom, and they grant audience even less often. And yet, for all these cautions, my heart is light. Nixpor is a country steeped in traditions. Nixpor is a country steeped in traditions, and to grant us a visit during the sacred crown moon is an auspicious sign. I imagine Lord Tawana, seated before the council, speaking with the calm weight of truth, and the Azorians answering with a nod and a clasp, but perhaps even in agreement, to hear more of Mawu's teachings. I imagine writing home with the news for our first converts amongst the great realms. I'll pause here because I need to go and edit the original text. I misspelled Azorian here. Give me a second. Okay. All right, we're back. And yet, for all these cautions, wait, there's 2 yets. Let me just set that as a note as well. Okay. Yet, as maybe I should say still. Still, as I was pondering this, Lady Tawana, ever eager, has struck up a conversation with one of the scaled merchants. She leaned forward on the cart bench, hands animated, as she bartered not for spices or coin, but for understanding. I sometimes wonder if her presence on this trip is necessary, or even perhaps a risk. Surely, even among your kind, she pressed, there must be a way to temper cruelty with mercy. A people so adept in trade must see the value of faith freely given. The Rimali trader flicked his tongue in amusement, his golden eyes narrowing. Here, not Muhamia market, he spoke in broken accent. Nixbar words cost more. Speak faith, get banned. I shifted in my seat, clutching my satchel of ink and parchment. From the day we met, she had to push, to pry open doors that were better left shut. In fact, my family history was known to her before the caravans hit its first gust of cold air. My ink-stained fingers tightened on the strap. Best save your words for the hall, my lady, I muttered, more sharply than I intended. Those words aren't worth the ink to capture them. And there I was again, rattling off, trying to seem quick of wit. Father always told me to be careful. The tongue is harsher than the quill. Yet Lady Tawana, startled by my tone, simply turned to me and smiled, not offended, but radiant, like winter sunlight breaking through clouds. I would rather spend the ink of 1,000 words if it meant I could prevent a single drop of blood, she said, and the hush that followed seemed to warm in with the cold air around us. I looked away, cheeks hot, pretending to adjust my quills. She had shamed me with nothing more than conviction. Already I knew her words would outlast mine. I spot young Zara, still wrapped in silence, her lips drawing into a smile. To speak without thought, a fool. To think these would be her first words to me. It magnified my embarrassment tenfold, and now I know why her silence is deliberate. She'd learned more listening to her mother's words, rather than go against it. Smart, I told myself. Smarter than I. Hooray! That was the first entry. And I see a lot of little mistakes, lots of little yets. I love using yet this, yet that. How do you feel about the characterization of Lady Tawana? and her tone. How do you feel, Zara? If this painted enough of a good picture of what Lady Tawana is like, feel free to comment as I go and make some edits over on the original document. And okay, so that's the Saurians. Let's go build. Hmm. Let's see what the ink to capture them. Let's remove this yet on the lady, the second Lady Tawana. Okay. If we're not adding a little bit more, I might continue reading the 22nd day of Crown Moon. I'll also do some edits here because I think the whatchamacallit is important. The slight change here and there is important. Let's copy, go to editing. Still, where's the Saurian earlier? Saurians, no Warians. Manta is silent, so maybe fell asleep at my reading, but that's fine.
I am still here.
Yeah, no worries. Are you um pondering what to say about the novel so far, or is there anything else? Because I'm making edits right now before we continue.
Honestly, I
Hmm.
like this format. You said this is the first draft?
Yes, this is the first draft. Yep. This is the first draft. Wait, why is this? Yep. But as far as first drafts go, I went through all this several times. I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to uh like writing, and uh I just went over and over and over and over and over before this draft ever came out. So yeah, so there's that. Let me just see here if this is correct. Crown Moon. That's correct. More Crown Moon. But let's save this. And I'll refresh this page. Yeah, even as a first draft, this went through several changes. Um, my my standards of what a first draft is versus what versus it in Probably
It's
in a
not
little.
bad. I
Yeah.
like hearing characters interact in the sort of around a campfire style. A little bit too much detail in some areas that feels like it could be simpler.
Yeah. But I mean, I think because it's a world building document for me, I love adding little details here and there. Right. It makes the world feels more lived in. But like I said, it uh, the only thing is that if the detail is added, but the pacing suffers, that's going to be bad. But um, as far as we're going through this, we're just going to keep reading. I think we're just going to keep reading. Let's just keep going. Yep. The only thing is the pacing.
True, but I
Yep.
feel like some details can go into side notes. Like the Oxman's cheesy musk.
Oh wow, you're reading through the entire things, the entire thing already. I guess the reason I actually added
I
the
am listening, but I read fast.
okay, fair enough. The reason I actually added the Oxman's cheesy musk is um I'm going through what's called world build the world building. I've actually rewritten it a little bit now. The reason I actually added the Oxman, the why I added this is to paint a much more vivid picture. I know the Oxman cheesy musk sounds excessive, but uh, a rule of writing is that um, everything requires five senses at least, right? Um, So I tend to, this is a not quite a belief of mine, but it is I read there's a dude, I can't remember, there's a channel on here on YouTube that has write a lot of writing advice, and he said that you depend a lot too much on sight, what you see, in terms of imagining the world. But
I
he
am a
says that
Tegan and hearing cheesy musk makes me think of horrid kinks I have seen.
I see, yeah, because I went through research to actually look what musk oxen smell like, and it said that it smells like rotten cheese. So yeah, but it is uh I feel like it's an important world building moment, because you need to be able to smell it, to be able to taste it, able to hear it, all that good stuff, right? So you were reading ahead, which is fair enough. But I've now made some edits uh, to add more, add even more detail. Wait, where is this? Okay. No, no. Okay. Oh, I know. This is the wrong uh page. Wait. Reading and writing. Where is oh, huh? Where's my stream? Oh, okay. Never mind. Wrong wrong window. There we go. Okay. Shall I continue reading? I'm going to save some of these recordings and
Yes.
publish them. Yep. I'm just gonna save some of these recordings and publish them as a whatchamacallit. Hmm. As a not a VOD, but probably a podcast. There we go. It has been 6 days since we crossed into Nixbor proper, and 3 since the mountain swallowed us whole. The road grew narrower and steeper with each mile, and the air thins and dry enough to chap the lips. Stone fortresses crowd the peaks. Stone fortresses crowned the peaks, their towers like jagged teeth against the grey sky. Despite it, despite it being over 3 weeks past the warming days of the thaw moon. We're back in Marona, we will be hearing the first chirpings of birds by day and murmuring crickets by night. We reached the capital of Ignagrad under a snowfall so fine that it clung to our cloaks like dust. The gates yawned open, not in welcome, but in the same way a starving maw opens to take in food. There is no chatter in the streets, only the steady shuffle of feet, the dull clink of chains, and the occasional barked order from the wolf-like lupin guards. Their silvery grey fur coats blended seamlessly with their chainmail, standing vigil with such stillness that not even the shuffle of their footprints appeared in the snow. As we parted ways with the Muhammad traders, our luggage was hauled into carts drawn by ox-like Oryxians, with their bent backs, their breath streaming in the cold. My nose instinctively scrunched as their rancid cheesy musk cut through the biting chill. Though my faith would chastise the notion of inequality, a part of me understood why they are confined to live in the outer quarter. We are housed in a narrow inn just inside the third gate. I'm turning a little bit Chinese. I'm sorry. We are housed in a narrow inn just inside the third gate, waiting for the council to grant us audience. The innkeeper, an old fox-faced Glacian Dame Dimitri, serves us with neither warmth nor rudeness. I cannot decide if it is the kindness of this place. Apparently, he'd only opened this venue to take advantage of the influx of traders in recent years, and would rather spend his time living lavishly in the inner quarters, if he still had the means. The only time his eyes would light up is when we challenged him to a game of Hexfang. That night, I caught sight of a pair of Snowarians in the alley across from our lodgings. Their rosetted pelts caught stray moonlight, silver against the drifts, and they moved with the silence of snowfall. I had read that they were scouts, but seeing them slip from shadow to shadow, I understood why even armies feared them. Their paws left no mark, their breath no cloud. One of them turned his head just once, and I saw eyes gleamed as pale as winter moons. He looked at me, or through me, and then he was gone. It was the kind of gaze that made you wonder whether he carried your name already, and was only deciding when to speak it. At the time, I thought that there were spies sent to watch us. Perhaps they were, but later I learned the Snowarians were always watching, even their own kind, reporting in whispers to generals who'd never dirtied their claws in the snow. They were eyes without a voice. Perhaps that's why Lady Tawana pitied them most of all. As days passed, the social order of Nixbor became as plain to read as their tiers on the streets. In the lower quarter, I saw more Oryxians, silently hauling pickled fish and potatoes. The Leporins fared worse. I caught sight of their long, rabbit ears behind shuttered windows, their eyes thin and hollow, some led by the arm into dim-lit doorways where no laughter followed. Once, high up in the inner quarter, I saw a Glacian tactician shoved by a Tigran general, his scrolls scattering in the snow. He stopped to pick them up without a word. But what took me a while to notice was the silence, not the absence of voices. There was speech enough, hurt and clipped, but the absence of music. No street singers, no whistles from passers-by, no whistles from passing boys, no clattering of games. The market stalls displayed no bright cloth, only unadorned tools, salted meats, and crude leather goods. Even the walls were bare. No carvings, no frescoes, not so much as painted banner. I thought of Anzania's markets, where every stall is a riot of color, and wondered how it must feel to grow up in a place where beauty is as rare as sunlight in winter. Each day I walk the streets a little farther, and each day the silence grows heavier. I find myself listening for songs where there is none, for laughter that does not come. Even the cries of the market sellers seem more like orders than invitations. Perhaps it is the way of the Nixpo to live without such artistry, or perhaps they no longer knew how. I also noticed that young Zara too had grown quieter since our arrival. At first, I thought it was a natural silence of a child in a foreign place. Yet as the days pass, I begin to wonder if it's not the silence, but mimicry. I begin to wonder if it is not silence, but mimicry. She had taken the stillness of Nixpo into herself, and in the land where words can kill, that may be the wisest thing of all. This evening, the pickled fish and potatoes I saw earlier at the market laid across the dinner table. Young Zara hasn't touched the food, instead staring intently into the candle flame lit by musk ox tallow. Nixpo is nothing if not consistent about their pungency, be it cuisine or otherwise, and I can't blame her for losing her appetite. "Eat up, dear," Lady Tawana said as she stroked her daughter's hair. "You never know when your next meal will be." Zara briefly glanced at her mother before turning back and staring at the flickering flame. "A fire-lit jewel. It's art." Lady Tawana sighed, then turned to her plate. I sense this is a common occurrence. A mother trying to reach the heart of her child, only to be met with something cryptic and broody. I think back to my own teenage years, when I told my father I wanted to be a poet. Poet? Come on. I think back to my own teenage years when I told my father I wanted to be a poet, only to be met with laughter. Though in this instance, it somehow felt less like an act of rebellion, but more of a sense of dissonance, like she was in a different conversation entirely. As I captured these findings in the night, Lord Tawana silently entered the room, his thick brows furrowed as he surveyed the room. As I was about to lay down my quill, he raised his hand to stop me, and I continued. I'm always amazed how he could communicate so much with a single gesture. He made use of what little lamp oil we had for them, and he made use of what little. Sorry, I was gonna go lamp oil. Oh, my damn ADHD brain. Sorry. And ropes and bombs. You want it?
He.
Okay. He made use of a little lamp oil we had for. He made use. Arg. Okay. He made use of what little lamp oil we had left for the day and silently shuffled through the pages of handwritten ledgers. Then tapped at the page. I looked. I sighed. I think we need to change this from the page to the parchment. Okay. I'll highlight this. Page to parchment. So that the page doesn't seem copied. Okay. Right? Suddenly shuffled through the pages of handwritten ledgers, then tapped at the parchment. I looked. I sighed. A small clerical error, insignificant in the grand scheme of things, yet one that would take a whole night to correct. Must we? I protested. Would such a small mistake even be worth the effort and ink? Choose your words wisely. Choose your words wisely, Jacob, said Lord Tawana. A single word could cost 1,000 lives. I must stop writing for now, for correcting the ledgers take precedence. But at the very least, let me capture those words, for they do not deserve to be committed to memory. my memory alone. Right. Okay. So with that said, I love how I came up with the contrast between Lady and Lord Tawana, right? Because it is 1,000 words for a single drop of blood versus a single word costing 1,000 lives. I think that is the chef. I love that. I love those little things that I get to do for contrasting characters. Don't you think? And
That is an interesting thing.
yeah, because I wanted to see if I could characterize uh these guys using very curt and uh like using quotes, right? Ink of 1,000 words versus a single drop of blood, single word causing 1,000 lives. And I think it's important because Mawu um is a religion of languages. It is a religion of Azania, meaning that words and language and every single thing is sacred to them. And I'm not sure if I should actually explicitly add this right now or make it so that it becomes more obvious slowly in the future of what Mawu is entailed. Because their faith is all about music, song, spoken, written words, and very important for a religion of voices. So, yeah, I think it is quite cool that that's done. But yeah, I love little details like that. And I wonder, though, Mana, I wonder if you spot any bits of foreshadowing that I've written so far, or what's going to happen very, very soon. And whether which parts are foreshadowing and which parts are red herrings.
I believe I have.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead and read the 28th day of Crown Moon now. And if you want, I'm going to read a few words of the draft of the next chapter. So I've written about half into the next chapter already. And if you know how I write this, if you see my writing style, you know, well, this is the first time you read my writing style, right? Uh, I
Funny
love.
thing, I was always a bane to my literature teachers because I always read ahead in class.
Yeah, no worries. Um, it is, but that's always nice. Um, it's always nice to get feedback from.
One question.
Yes, mommy. Um, okay, so if it's about the Gundam,
Hi is Momi.
If it's about the Gundam, I'll be probably reading through this, finishing with this chapter, and unless you and Mana want to hear the next draft of the first half of the next chapter, I'll let you.
WTH is with the goddamn error?
What error? What error did I do? What error? Is there an error?
I was trying to ask.
Okay, just give me a
Which
second.
path will we?
Give me a second. Let me go check if
Choose
you.
after the stage.
Oh, choose the path we're gonna choose after the stage of the SD Gundam, right?
Oh,
Um.
Momi got a chat error I think.
Oh. Okay.
I
Okay.
know
Okay.
every time I type that fully it shows error.
This maybe is because in the beginning we were talking about. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's gonna make you cringe. Um. It's because we're uh okay. I'll detour and talk about the Gundam so to keep Momi interested. But what are the paths that we're gonna choose in the future after this stage? Stage either Shangri-La or Burning Earth, right? Okay, wait, 16A or 16B. So it's either going to be Shangri-La or the other one, which is the Attack on Frontier 6. The thing about it is, if we actually headed to Shangri-La, right?
Blarg.
Yeah. There's a chance to get Prue, and you do get a chance to get Prue, right?
Seriously, what is with this chat error?
Yeah. So we either go with Shangri-La so that we have a chance to get Prue and Prue 2. I think that's going to be the thing.
Yes.
And I think in the
Both her and the other.
Yeah. Yeah, 16, 17. Yeah, but I don't. But what's going to be the benefit of going to the other stage then? I don't think there's going to be a benefit at all, really. Yeah, I think characters are so much more, like playing through this now. I think characters are so much more important than mobile suits, because playing through their like you get to ace them and turn them strong early, right? Unless you want to min max things.
We got F91 if Frontier.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, let's just go ahead and go do that route after this. Okay, right. Which means that after finishing reading the 28th Day of Crown Moon, I'm gonna go offline a little bit, and then we'll be
Go
back with more
path
Gundam.
that's not Dakar nets us G Gundams.
Oh man, it is a rough choice. We'll you know what? We'll do either a coin flip or pick a choice. Like it is, so it's between Double Zeta and G Gundams, is I think, isn't it? You know what? Okay, I'll think about it. But I'll finish reading this first, okay, Momi? Okay? And then we'll go ahead and do the Gundams after. But thanks for your patience, by the way. And I know you're even if you're not interested and you're still being here, I really appreciate it. And if there's anything in the story of what I'm reading right now is of interest to you, or if you have any feelings about it, any thoughts about it, even if it's just feedback, if it sounds interesting, doesn't sound interesting at all, I receive everything as constructive criticism. Okay? So thanks anyways for still being here and giving me your attention. Anyways, it is the 20th day of Crown Moon now. Today we were shown the colossal ruin of the Nixborn. Okay. Today we were shown the colossal ruin of the Nixborn, now called the Warrior's Cage. From without, it is a mass of blackened stone, arches broken and scarred by the frost. From within, it is vast, cavernous, and cold, a hollow heart at the center of their nation. I had read of it before, buried in the chronicles I once copied from masters I've never seen in this. I have read it before, buried in the chronicles I once copied from masters who will never see this land. In those texts, translated from scriptures, written in forgotten languages several millennia past, it was not called a cage, but a temple of consequence, the shrine to Zarios.
Mitzi has low IQ when it comes to wall of text.
Okay, I understand, but I was hoping that reading it would make it feel a little bit more alive. Okay. A temple of consequence, the shrine to Zarios, the lion of flame. They called him not only god of fire, not they called him not only god of fire and war, but of light, consequence, and truth. He was said to preside over duels, but the guilty were unmasked and the just were vindicated. To fight before Zarios, to let fire illuminate the truth. Okay, to fight before Zarios is to let fire illuminate truth. I think I'll need to do that. Right. In that age, the classical age, the Nixbor thrived. Warriors, yes, but philosophers, artisans, carvers of stone and builders of great halls. The warrior's cage was their cathedral, a place where artistry and battle were indistinguishable. Fire was their test, but also their muse. But centuries passed, and the meaning rotted. The duels became games, then spectacles. The sacred fire was lowered to tortures. Honor gave way to wagers, artistry to cruelty. Zarios was remembered only as the lion of war. Fire without light, trial without truth, and his magic faded, leaving Nixbor in the bitter cold. Perhaps as worship degraded into bloodsport, so too did the Nixbor lose their art. Songs were forgotten, colors dimmed, the temples became an arena, then a ruin. Now it stands as a husk, its flames extinguished, its god gone. I cannot help but wonder if they had forgotten their god, or if their god abandoned them. But at the
Its
very
flame
least,
extinguished, its god gone. Perhaps its divinity vacated.
damn it, mana. Oh, okay, darn it. Oh man, I have another reference incoming, but
I am nitpicky, my B.
no worry. No worry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. I thought you were making a reference of some sort, but that's fine. Yeah. The gods abandoned. Right. But at the very least, the ruin stands. The structures left behind for the time still echo to this day, and strict adherence to rules, hierarchies, and traditions have kept Nixbor standing. I could only pray that the light of truth and consequence still shines somewhere as negotiations start. When they start. As night falls and we return to our lodging, Lady Tawana spotted something in the outer quarter. Down past the third gate, a figure lying in the street. As she approached, her footsteps slowed. A Leporan corpse. A Leporan corpse sprawled lifelessly in the quiet alley, thinly veiled by a layer of powdered snow. She clasped her hands and sang, softly, quietly, as if it was the ears of the Leporan alone. Lord Tawana knelt beside her and soon joined in her prayer, his singing hoarse in comparison. I half expected young Zara to join, but she stood beside me, giving her parents some distance. It was at this moment I understood why Lord and Lady Tawana were chosen for this mission. They are two halves of our greater whole, reflecting, complementing each other in a way neither of them could by themselves. But as I tried to commit that gentle memory to memory, it was interrupted by an even softer sound, sob, coming from my side. How fate can be cruel. Apart. I turned to Zara. Her expression was blank. Her expression was blank and unreadable as ever. but a single tear strolled down her cheek. It was the first time I'd ever saw her cry, and I was struck with neither sadness nor sympathy, but of dread. Before I could process her words, a small shape stirred in the alley. A Leporian child, ears twitching, stepped into the pale light. She observed. She knelt, then clasped her hands just as Lord and Lady Tawana had done. A gentle hum even escaped her lips. For an instant, hope fluttered within me. I see the Tawanas look at each other. A gentle smile drew across their faces for the first time. Drawn across their faces as the first seed of our faith taking root. But then, a crunch of hurried steps, a mother's hand seized the child, pulling her into the shadow. Okay, I need to rewrite this a little bit. I wanted to change that for an instant the hope flooded in me. Over to here. The hope flooded in me, but then the crunch of hurried footsteps. I think that makes more sense. As they vanished, I thought I saw it. A brief shimmer along the snow, like tinder catching flame. Almost too quick to be real. When I blinked, it was gone. Perhaps a mere trick of the light? I'm sorry, I had to include that reference. I can't not. Okay, anyways. I moved forward to confirm what I saw. But by the time I got there, our Rixians were already carting the body away. Zara's tears already dry without her parents. Zara's tears were already dry when her parents returned to her side. I need to rewrite that too. Zara's tears were already dry. Give me a second. Were already. Yep. Just give me a second. Yep. Zara's tears were already dry when her parents returned to her side. Yet her eyes lingered on the empty street. I wonder if she saw the sparks too, but I know full well that asking her would not yield me an answer. We soon got back at the inn. I wanted more time to write this, to capture and contemplate what had transpired, but we could not afford such luxury. Dimitri wagged his finger to get our attention before handing us a note with a royal seal. The council will meet us tomorrow. Okay. That is the first chapter done. And, okay. And I'm going to stop the recording for a little bit. And I'm going to, just for mana, and for those of you who are here, I'm going to read a little bit into the future of what I've written so far. Right? Where is it? Let's go ahead and go to chapter 2. Yeah. I'll read the first few sentences. Yeah. Just so that you know what you're in for. I can scarcely hold the quill. Yeah, I can scarcely hold the quill. The ink runs where my hands tremble, blotting the page. But if I do not write this right now, the truth will slip from me like blood upon stone. My ears still ring with silence, my eyes still burn with what I saw, and yes, I must set it down. I must. What words I have now are scavenged, stitched from what survived, and I will not leave. Okay, give me a second. I must. What words I have now are scavenged, stitched from what survived, and what will not leave me, even in my dreams. The first sign that things were amiss were the crowds. As crown moon passed, the streets were now bustling, and the masses shuffled around, pushing and shoving towards the inner quarter. If not for the carriages sent personally by the Asaurian elites, we would have never made it past the inner gates into the castle. I realized as our paths diverged, and the people were headed towards the warrior's cage. Now, I realized as our paths diverged that the people were headed towards the warrior's cage. Roars of excitement echoed in the distance. The games had begun. The chambers were empty by comparison, tiered with each cast in its ordained place. Snowarians lined the upper gallery, unseen but always watching. Glacians spread their scrolls on low desk, sharp-eyed, recording every syllable. The Lupins flanked the doors, broad-shouldered and grim, hands never far from their axes. And at the center door, broad-shouldered and at the table, seated in ordered rows, sat the Tigran generals. Lord Tawana sat quietly at the table, seated in ordered rows. Wait, damn it, I'm reading this incorrectly, right? Lord Tawana sat quietly at the end of the table, waiting patiently for the official proceedings to begin, while Lady Tawana was already exchanging pleasantries with Glacian diplomats, trying to stifle his laughter at such an important event. Zara and I sat at a separate table next to the record keeper. Humbled nervously, wondering if I had prepared enough ink and parchment. None of that would matter. None of it. Okay, that's my preview. That's my preview of the next chapter. Something big's gonna drop. A miracle's gonna happen. So, yeah, that's the gist of what we're gonna have for the next little bit. Hope you're gonna tune in next week, Mana. That's going to our story continued. And if you keep your eye on the Seventh Realm wiki, you might see the story posted early as well. But yep, there's going to be a lot of really cool stuff happening. Yep. Okay. All right. So, any last few words you wanted to hear? Wanted to say, Manta, before we switch over to more Gundam? Just switch to my face cam here. Switching to the face cam. Oh, wow. And what any choice words regarding the story?
I shall be here next week. Like I said, it's a good first draft. You got good direction. It's a bit rough, and I still hold to my saying that some details can be made more simpler. But it's still a good start.
Okay. So you like the details to be simpler, or I think what you're saying is that it feels wordy. I think that's I'll take that as a not a compliment. Well, it is a constructive criticism. I think it's a bit wordy, and it could be more succinct. It does go a little bit because I'm torn a little bit between making things more succinct and giving it the slow burn and give there's I need to strike a good balance between making things succinct and easier to read versus striking a balance of not give, because my mom's complaint was that I didn't give enough of each species room to be expanded upon. So there's that. I think I need to strike a very good balance. Or And Matt, I think your is a kind of a less is more terms of writing. But to be fair, I think both valid criticisms, because we haven't even gotten into the spicy fun bits yet. But has
Pretty much, yes. The details about the surroundings and location usually need good detail to help visualize. However, if you are applying the same amount of description to less prioritized elements, it can bog down the grander details. In my opinion.
okay. I feel ya. I feel ya. I feel ya. I feel ya. I could. Less is more for certain parts. But yeah. Okay. Good. Right. I'll need to strike a good balance. I feel it like it is a little bit very whatchamacallit like, and if there's a difference between giving the characters room to breathe and come on, get on with it. I want to hear what happens next kind of feeling, right? But I'm always afraid of I want to know more about the world feeling. And we'll see. Like so. Okay. I'm gonna just so what's gonna happen now is that I'm gonna thank my members. So thank you Apilex Manta, Rafa Vega, Chapa, Amislam, and Chris Burton for being members of Time and Streaming. Watch vids early, cool badges and emojis and stuff, and all that good stuff. I'm going to end this part of the stream, and when we come back, I'm going to set up a new stream. So please go and watch that and go look at that. I'm going to set up the new stream now, so that Momi could have
It's
a place
the
to
trick
go.
of using words. Sometimes a strong word can be the same as a long description. For example, the rancid cheesy musk could be as simple as pungent musk. Or if you want to keep the idea of adding the cheese smell, you could say the bovine musk.
Yeah. I understand. Right, I'm going to schedule a sus stream episode 12 over here. Go next, and starting at this time, press done. And I'm going to post a link in the description. So Momi, as soon as I post the link, feel free to jump and let me just copy this. So those of you who want to continue watching the Gundam stuff, feel free to jump over here. And this is for the YouTubers, those people on YouTube. So Momi, go and wait for me over there. But that's gonna be it for this side of the stream. I'll be right back. Yeah, there we go. Go and follow the link for where the action continues.